the shadows to the light. We'll judge every fearsome sight. Gore and chills all in one night. Tune in now, it's pure delight. Rapid reviews, here we go. Quick and snappy, watch us flow. Scary movies, yes or no. Rapid reviews, steal the show.
Hello and welcome back to Rapid Reviews. As I said when I reviewed Terrifier, I was going to come back and do Terrifier 2, and it's Terrifier season. It's almost time for Terrifier 3, which should mean it's almost time for Christmas, but it doesn't. It's October. Bizarre. Anyway, for Terrifier 2, because they upped the ante from Terrifier 1 and they added in a final girl, I want to welcome our very own final girl who's becoming a regular feature on Rapid Reviews. It's Marc from Reviews from the Crypt.
Me? Oh,
yeah, you.
Welcome back.
You are now the resident final girl of Rapid Reviews.
I'll take that.
Terrifier 2. You and me have already done a full review of this on the You Run Podcast Horror Movie Review. It is one of our longest episodes. And looking back on it now, it's one of our longest episodes because this is the longest fucking movie anyone's ever made, and Damien Leone needs someone to do editing for him desperately.
Yeah, they do, and that's the thing. Like, we talked about the movie on the podcast, and probably what we're going to say here tonight is going to be very contrastingly different to what we said on the podcast because
mine's
this is a rewatch.
Mine's the same.
Dude, don't be that guy. This is a rewatch, and I've watched this for a second time now, if not a third time by the time we're recording this. And yeah, my opinions have drastically changed. I feel from getting over that initial shock factor that the Terrifier movies produce, and then when it comes to those bigger scenes and stuff that you're kind of waiting on, it leaves a lot of freedom to dissect the blood in between. And for me, this movie heavily suffers in terms of pacing. It really does.
Yeah, it does. And we'll talk about the pacing in a bit, but we're going to kick off the same way we kick off every single Rapid Reviews. What is your favourite scene? And you've got about 8 weeks worth of footage to pick from. What's your favourite?
My favourite scene is, I can't remember the character's name, but the death of the main death of the girl who gets slashed, dashed, arm broken, decapitated, bleached, and then salted. Oh. The most brutal kill I've ever seen on a horror movie in my life, and I've seen some fucking pretty dark stuff. And I don't think it's the actual kill sequences itself that is so horrifying. I think it's just the longevity of the scene as a whole, like how long it takes.
They cut away and they tell another part of the story, and they come back and it's still going on.
And it's still going on, and it's just so brutal and graphic and violent and disturbing in every possible way. And just when you think this poor girl has suffered enough, he comes back with bleach and salt, and then you think just as this poor girl has finally had the worst of the worst you could possibly do to a human being, you think she's dead, and her mother walks in and she speaks and she says the words "mummy," and I'm like, oh no, she's still alive at this point on. And it's horrifying. It is horrifying. And in terms of the actual graphic nature of it, and people are like, oh, it's up the ante from Terrifier 1. Yeah, the chainsaw kill, the hacksaw kill. Yeah, Terrifier 1. Yeah, graphic, brutal. But it was over in quick succession. It was awful. It was done, there and done. This one, I think it's the length of the kill itself. And I'm talking about this like this is my favorite scene from the movie. It's not my favorite scene from the movie, but it's definitely one of the scenes within the movie that is worth talking about the most. I feel.
burnt
I can't say
into
it's
your
like my favorite.
brain.
I'm not that guy. I'm not that weird guy who's like, yeah, this is the best scene ever. No, it's not. It's
My
not. It's
favorite
wrong
scene
for
is
all the wrong reasons.
my favorite scene is when they torture the girl and hurt her. I really like that scene. That's not what you're saying.
No, what I'm saying is I'm a big practical effects guy, and I think the use of practical effects that Damon Leone implements within the scene is phenomenal and second to none. I think he's a very, very fucking clever artist
Yeah.
in the use of his practical effects. I know a lot of people have criticized him in the past and said that it's very schlocky and B movie esque, but a lot of those B movie level I can't even fucking think about how I want to word that. B
The
level.
B movie level effects. I'll
That's
help
the
you.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
they kind of showcase this in a way that needs to be done, but then Damien Leone takes it and just fucking amplifies it to another level. Like his incorporation of his special effects department team, I know he's involved heavily within that, but he does have understudies and all the rest of it. But some of the stuff that he showcases, it's one of those where you want to look away because the scene's so horrifying and so graphic, but at the same time, when you're looking at it, you're like, oh, that looks so fucking realistic. That looks so cool. It's
Yeah.
so clever how you showcase that. And when she's crawling along the floor with just like the decapitated arm that Art's pulled off, you can't see that transition. I mean, this is a fully fledged actress who has both arms, but when she's crawling along the floor with the decapitated arm, you can't see that weird transition where she's holding it behind her back or anything like that. Like he's so cleverly shot that entire sequence, and his practical effects work throughout it is so good.
Yeah.
It's horrifying, but incredible at the same time.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Like his practical effects is better than anything else he does, in my personal opinion. For me, I am a story-driven guy, and the reason I didn't like Terrifier and I didn't like All Hallows Eve is the story is an itty bitty bit of the movie. In Terrifier 2, he actually created a story and he created some interesting characters. He developed Art
Too
the
much.
Clown, he introduced the weird girl, the weird creepy girl, and he brought in Sienna. Now, Sienna and Art are metaphors for angels and demons. And my favorite scene of this is the moment that Sienna realizes she can fuck Art up. And this is where she's been thrown down into the clown cafe and she's trapped in the tank of water, and she breaks free and she comes out and she picks up the glowing sword and she turns into She-Ra, the Princess of Power. And then from like that scene is my favorite bit, like that moment where it's like it's got the music, it's not the Terrifier music, it's like this more upbeat hero music, and she comes and saves her brother. Like that whole sequence up to the bit where she hits Art and he turns around and goes, oh fuck. He has that oh fuck look on his face. Like that whole segment is my favorite bit of this movie. Like I love the story. It's great.
But it's funny you should say that, because for me that's the worst part of the movie. Like, people criticized Terrifier and told him that he had no story and he had no plot. So he took that criticism on board and implemented a story and a mythology and a world building aspect to Terrifier 2. But in doing so, he added massive amounts of blood. And for me, Tara from Terrifier 1 was the pinnacle of what Final Girl should be. She should not have died in that first movie. She should have been the forefront of the movie. And then introducing Sienna in the second movie. I love Sienna. I think the actress is great, and I think her character as a whole is fantastic. But for me, it just felt a little bit too late. Like, I'm used to Art the Clown as being this force of nature, this complete destruction of anything that he touches. And then when we get to Terrifier 2 and they implement someone like Sienna, it just felt a little bit too late for me. It just felt like I'm not used to this dynamic where he has somebody who can challenge his abilities. And then we were talking about abilities. Well, we're not, but I'm talking about abilities. The fact that Sienna can then now find this level of mutant-esque Avengers style ability to be able to take on Art the Clown, it
Awesome.
just doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me in the slightest, purely based on the fact that for me, my final girls in horror are based on the willing to survive requires the intelligence to outsmart the antagonist, you know? But when you take Sienna and you put her on the similar level playing field as Art the Clown, it cheapens her as a character, in my opinion. I feel like she doesn't need that. She doesn't need that added level of ability. And what they did by incorporating that cheapened her as a character, she should have just been able to done it on a normal humanistic level. I don't know. I don't know what I'm
Yeah,
trying to say, but I'm trying to
see,
say that what
I
they did was wrong.
I
And
really
that's
like the where they play with the religious aspects of this. Art the Clown is the personification of evil. He is effectively a demon, which is why he can't die, is my take on it. Sienna is an angelic being. She wields effectively the sword of Michael, is what this is. It's a biblical sword that she's fucking waving around that's glowing. Like for me, based on being raised Catholic and knowing the story of like the archangel and like all this stuff, like all of this just ties in so nicely for me, and I really like it. What I don't like about this movie is all of the bloat. Like I could take this, I could take a full cut of this, I could cut it to an hour 35, an hour 40, and still tell you exactly the same story without
yeah,
losing any key points.
yeah. There's at least 10, 15 seconds from every single scene that you could cut. That's not even barring the scenes that don't even need to be here as a whole, enabled to
Should we?
warrant the projective of the story.
Well, one scene I want to talk about just because it's like, what the fuck? Mashed potato.
I mean, look, like they set out to make a movie more gory, more bloody, more violent than the first Terrifier movie, and they did that. There's no denying that, like, they did that. But that's half the problem with Terrifier 2 as a whole. Is like they set out to make something that was excess,
Yeah.
violence, excess gore, excess everything, excess character development, excess plot development, you know, and it just kind of got away with itself in terms of what Damien Leone was trying to achieve. And this is what worries me about Terrifier 3 is that he's taken on board so much of what the critics are saying to him that I'm worried that he's losing
We,
his vision of what Art the Clown needs to be, because he had an idea in his mind, he had a projective of where this character was going to go, but then he received feedback for the first movie, so he implemented the feedback into the second movie. And it just worries me that this is kind of losing itself in translation, and he's taking so much feedback on board from fans that he's not really listening to what they're saying. They're saying implement a story to Art the Clown. Great. You didn't need to then go and make a 2 hour and 28 minutes, 2 hour and 18-minute movie that is 60% story development that needs an additional movie to conclude it. That's my biggest gripe. That's my biggest gripe with Terrifier 2 is that they set up so much stuff that doesn't go anywhere without the third movie to tie in, if not the fourth movie. We might even need a fourth movie to bring all this together.
See,
but like, there's so much stuff here that doesn't end. It doesn't end. You're setting up stories, you're setting up plot points, and it just, well, where does that go? Who does that connect to? Why is this part of what this is? And it doesn't
honestly,
get there by the time we get to the credits, and it pisses me off every time.
it's so funny that how we've changed from when we first reviewed this. So like I'm still very much, I love the story of this, didn't like the first one. And I was very much not on board for a Christmas Art the Clown in October. And then we got the newest trailer. And then after the newest trailer, I don't know, there's a trailer reaction video. If someone wants to go back and watch that, you can find it really easy. Just scroll down. I was still unsure, but the trailer has grown on me. And I think because he's created this such a bizarre world where he has incorporated angels and demons and a magic sword, like
But
he
has
could
he
do.
though? Has he though? He's just implemented towards it, and that's your perception of it. It doesn't mean
Yeah,
to necessarily say that that's what he is trying to do.
but
That's
now
just what
he's
you've analysed from the second movie.
yeah, but now he's got the option of we could get real live elves, we could get real live flying reindeer, and we
Yeah,
could
but they
have
don't
art.
exist, so you can't get real life flying reindeer or real life elves. You know,
we
they're
could
not
have
real.
we could have Art the Clown versus Santa Claus, like the magic bag from Violent Night, where Art just reaches in and pulls out different. Like, I'm on board for how wild he can go with it, and I would rather he took it down that weird and wonderful path than just upped the gore.
Filled with fun, smiles, and laughter.
Because I don't need the gore in this is a step too far for me. And if he steps it up again in Terrifier 3, I'm going to be out. I'll be done because I can't cope with any more gore than I got in this movie, and I don't want an extra level of violence added.
Oh, you're gonna
because
get
it's
it.
not needed. It's not
Yeah,
needed.
you're definitely gonna get it. You are though. That's the thing. That's the thing. He's gonna be bigger and better than the previous because that's kind of where he set his boundaries now. That's kind of what he needs to do. Every movie is gonna have to surpass the previous. I mean, everybody's criticizing the fact that this is coming out on Christmas and it's going to be a Christmas movie and all the rest of it. I'm on board for this. I'm fully on board for this. I think it's a great setting. I think in terms of his release in theaters, doesn't quite marry up with the movie.
Tell me why.
No,
He should have
but
done a late November, early December release for this if that's what he was kind of going for. Especially in terms of continuity with the movie as well, because like every time we've got one of these, they've kind of stepped up. So the first one was as it was. The second one was like a year after, set around Halloween. This third one is, I think it's 5 years. I think they're projecting it to be. I'm sure
Yeah.
it's 5 years from what I could grasp from the trailer. It's 5 years after the event of the second one, but you're releasing it on Halloween, but it's set at
but
Christmas.
it's Christmas. Yeah, it's weird. It's
So
definitely
like
weird.
just release it late November, early December. People are still going to go see it.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's down to not having confidence in what that Christmas market for movies is like. I think that's I'll stick to October because I know people are in spooky mood. They'll go and watch it. And I don't know. I think it's going to do well. It's going to do better than Terrifier 2.
I think so.
We are rapid reviewing Terrifier 2, and this rapid review has not been that rapid. So we're way beyond the halfway point. So should we score Terrifier 2? And because you've
We're that
changed
far in already.
yeah, because you've changed so drastically, you can go first.
Terrifier 2, even though we've barely touched upon Terrifier 2 in this review because we've just been rambling about other things for the past 5 minutes. I'm going to score Terrifier 2 at a 2.5.
Blasphemy!
Ouch. Okay, Terrifier 2 for me is still a 5 out of 5. I love this movie.
Oh, fuck off.
It needs cutting down. My score has not changed. I've watched this 20 times since its release, if not more.
Man, that's like a year of your life.
Yeah, like the story driven of this is so good for me. It's like I can skip all of the gore scenes. I'm not that bothered. I'm trying to understand the story and what the creepy clown cafe is. Like all of that to me is super interesting because I know what he's drawn from. And he said himself, he's drawn from angels and demons. And that to me is like, I don't know, it's like catnip. It's like catnip for my horror itch. And I adore it. Let's do the really hard thing. If you want to sell this to a mixed age, neutral audience who have no knowledge of Terrifier, what scene do you play to them? You're trying to get the most of
Uh,
them to stay and watch the whole movie.
Phew, that's a difficult question. I'll probably showcase them the scene of the girl's death that I showed you earlier on, especially if it was
Oh,
for a
wow.
mixed age as well, because that would be the ultimate description of this movie. If you couldn't stomach that scene, and I'm a horror veteran, I have seen a lot of shit in my time, and even for me, that scene particularly was hard to
It's rough.
digest. So showcasing that would be a case of being like, do you want to see more? Or are you done? Like, is this where you draw the line? And I think for most people, they would say I'm drawing the line here and there. So I think like this is the definitive benchmark for what this movie has to showcase.
See, I'd go the other way, and I would showcase the laundrette scene, because the laundrette scene is just pure magic. Where he takes his
It's the
bloody
weirdest
clothes.
scene in the movie.
He takes his bloody clothes and he sits there in the nude and reads a newspaper, and a creepy little girl comes up, and then he gets dressed again. Like, I would use that scene because everyone's going to know he's a killer because he's caked in blood, and everyone's going to be, oh, so the girl's paranormal? Why is he naked? Like, there's going to be lots of questions, and I think that would get a bigger chunk of that audience to go, yeah, okay, I need to see where this goes because this is weird as fuck. I need to understand it. They'd all
Yeah,
walk
no,
out
I'm going
shortly
straight for the
after.
kill and be like, this is the best of the best. This is what you're going to get. So either take this or leave it.
Where do you put Art the Clown? Because I've heard so many people say he's a horror icon. They've stood him next to Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger and Pinhead and Leatherface. And for me, he is not that caliber yet. He will be in another 3 or 4 movies. He will be an iconic horror character. But for me, at the moment, he's still, I don't know, he still sits around the same level as the Leprechaun. He's good,
Um,
but he's not great.
I think to categorize him as the same level as Leprechaun is quite insulting to what this movie is. I think he has the potential, but I think Damien Leone needs to address certain elements about his character and what direction he wants to project him in order to amplify him to that level. There is a lot about what he signified so far in terms of his abilities, his overall relentlessness, and his overall character design that signifies he warrants that same level of iconic status, such as Michael, Freddy, and Jason. But there's one key element for me that's missing in order to signify his stature within that group of people, and that is his score. He doesn't have that signature level score
No, he
that
has.
you instantly hear.
It's the dun 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 dun, but
But
it's not.
is it good enough? Is it good enough?
No,
It's
no,
not.
no,
It's
it's
not nowhere
not.
near.
And,
It's not nowhere
and
near, and it's different from the first movie. So
yeah,
you can't translate between the two. You can't signify like, oh, we heard that in the first movie. That means he's coming, because it's different in the
yeah,
second movie to what it was in the first movie, and it's different to what it was in All Hallows Eve. And we get the introduction of the Creepy Cafe song, which is great, by the way. I am not
yeah.
dissing on the Creepy Cafe song.
Drop on by the Clown Cafe, your favorite meals on wheels. The menu is disgusting and it's full of special deals. Nothing here is good for you, so grab yourself a tray, 'cause food's a little funny at the Clown Cafe.
And now Damien Leone is in a position right now where he needs to have an iconic score, an iconic sound that relates to the character that Art the Clown is. And he has two options. He can take what he's used in Terrifier 2, he can take what he's used in Terrifier 1, and he can take what he's used in All Hallows Eve, and he could do something completely different in the third movie, or he can take, which would be my option in this situation, would be to take the Creepy Cafe song, and he would be to do that in a synth neon sort of
Yep.
80s vibe and associate that with the character. So when you know that a kill's going to go down, you hear that iconic score, similar to what you do in Halloween, similar to what you hear in Jason Voorhees, Friday the 13th, and Freddy and Nightmare on Elm
Yeah.
Street. You sort of hear that build up slowly, let's be honest, Creepy Cafe song is something that's here to stay. It was predominant throughout Terrifier 2, and even in the closing act when they was in the asylum and she was singing the Creepy Cafe song. We love it. We love it. We heard it live. We heard it live at the For Love of Horror, and it was fucking
We did,
banging.
and we saw all their interviews, and that they were all fabulous. Everyone in this movie in real life are wonderful people, and hearing them talk
They
and
are.
seeing that, yeah, great. Like, but you're right, he needs that. It needs something to tie it together.
Yeah.
I like it, and unfortunately, that is the end of the rapid review. I think we spoke more about Terrifier.
I hate
3
rapid
than
reviews,
Terrifier.
man, because I can fucking go for hours, man. I hate how you cut me short every single time.
But the thing is, it's a rapid review, and this is probably the longest episode of rapid reviews. So, thank you, everyone.
Is it really? I feel like we've only been recording for 10 minutes. I don't feel like this has been.
We've gone way over the half-an-hour cut-off point of rapid review.
You sit on a throne of lies. You disgust me.
So
Fuck's sake.
this has been a not so rapid review. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you go and give Marc a follow as well. He's on Instagram. He's at Reviews from the Crypt or at VHS from the Crypt. Excellent VHS collection. Also, excellent movie reviews. His Terrifier 2 review, if you want to read all of his raging thoughts in a very long form way that is written beautifully, that is now currently available for you to go and indulge in, is it not?
Well, no pressure, but yeah, but considering by the time we recorded this, yeah, it will be out.
Yeah, we spoke about it off air ages ago, and I know it's coming. So by the time this is out, it will be there. We're going to be back soon. I don't know. I think we're doing Shaun of the Dead next. I think that's going to be it's 20 years of Shaun of the Dead. I think we need to do Shaun of the Dead.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It'd be wrong not to.
It would. But until then, thank you very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I read somewhere that you're more likely to do it if you hear a female voice say it. So
remember to like and subscribe.
Do that, and we'll catch you all
Creepy.
next time.
Okay.
It's very creepy. See you. Uwu. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. See you next week. Oh no, that's not my
No,
line. Cheers,
that's not
guys.
your
I'll see you soon. Maybe I don't know. Maybe.
I thought you were going with the Terminator line then, and you let me down.
What was my Terminator line?
I'll be back.
From the shadows to the light, we'll judge every fearsome sight. Gore and chills all in one night. Tune in now, it's pure delight. Rapid reviews, here we go. Quick and snappy, watch us flow. Scary movies, yes or no. Rapid reviews, steal the show.